Oh, hang on. Hello, Ella. Can you hear me? No. Sorry. Can you hear me? 2 seconds. Can you hear me now? I can't hear you. I can't hear you at all. Give me 2 seconds.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, it's all about microphones because I have three in front of
Not
me.
very well though.
Yeah,
You have what? Sorry.
I have three microphones in front of me, so it's a big problem. Which one is okay?
It's still a little bit. I can't hear you very well. You're quite muffled and quite far away. Well, I suppose you are far away, but
Okay.
um,
Maybe it's because of my connection. Internet connection is very poor.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Can you hear me good or?
Not great. I'll be honest with you. You're quite muffled. It's quite muffled and quite far away. But hopefully, if there's not too much noise on the line, I might be able to follow through.
Okay. I hope that it's going to be okay now. I will speak loudly. I want to say thank you for your time.
Great.
I really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Can we start with our questions? Are you ready?
I am indeed. I am.
Okay. Can you firstly introduce yourself? What are you doing? What is your job and your connections to the BAI?
Absolutely. So I'm Stephanie Comey. I'm a senior manager with the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland, which is the broadcasting regulator for radio and television in the Republic of Ireland. And I've been with the authority for now for many years, 18 years, I think, this year. And my particular areas of work within the BAI is the media literacy portfolio, and I also look after areas of diversity, including gender diversity in the broadcasting sector.
Okay. Thank you, BAI. And what is BAI dealing with?
Yes, so the BAI is the broadcasting regulator. So we regulate the broadcasting sector, radio and television in the Republic of Ireland for the services licensed in the Republic of Ireland. So we have a role in setting codes of standard and rules for broadcasters that they have to abide with. We have a role in setting advertising limits, for example, on services. We have a role in licensing services, radio and television, and also ensuring that the services that are licensed are compliant with the various contractual obligations that we assign to them, and also obviously the codes and rules that I've just mentioned. Now, additionally to that, we also have a statutory remit in a number of other areas that we call the ancillary measures. We are governed by the Broadcasting Act 2009 in Ireland, and the ancillary measures here cover areas such as media literacy, such as learning and development in the broadcasting sector, and enhancing, if you like, a culture of high performance, high quality, and high sustainability for the broadcasters, which hopefully in turn will provide audiences with a wide variety of services available to them.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Can you tell me which would, what profession or?
Yep. So it's an interesting question. Our engagement with the public is actually quite narrow. We don't engage with the public very much. We do engage when we write codes and rules and we conduct public consultations. So we would put questionnaires out and sometimes organize focus groups and interviews and this kind of stuff. And that's an opportunity for the BAI to reach out to the public. But our primary engagement is really with stakeholders, so broadcasters, people who work in the audiovisual sector in Ireland, in the audio sector, representative organizations, other public service organizations, that kind of stuff. And obviously our European partners as well and counterparts. So these are our primary stakeholders, if you like.
Okay, so BAI Media Literacy Policy participated in the making of the BAI Media Literacy Policy.
So there weren't very many people. It was mostly me and also Martina Chapman, who we have worked with extensively. Martina is an expert in media literacy matters. She has worked with a number of organizations across Europe. And a number of broadcasters as well. And I met Martina many years ago at a conference, and we just, Martina is Irish, that's the other thing, and Irish people always find themselves in European conferences. They'll always manage to get together. And we started talking, and I was talking about the work that the BAI was trying to do in media literacy, and she said that she might be interested to have a look at it. So through a regular procurement process, we recruited Martina, and she offered her a comprehensive experience in the matters, and we decided that we'd write a policy that would set a blueprint, if you like, for what media literacy might look like in an Irish context. So it's I know we are the regulator and we do have a statutory remit in the area, but it's still not something that it's not our normal area, if you like. We're only regulating radio and television. Obviously, media literacy has a much broader reach. So what we tried to do was to develop a document that would be usable by many, many stakeholders that are not BAI stakeholders, people out there that have an interest in media literacy and might find it useful. So it's really a work that aims to be applied in partnership with other people. So the two primary drivers were Martina and myself, and I had assistance from two internal colleagues as well in the drafting, finding language, and then obviously the things like publication and this kind of stuff. But it was quite a small team. It was just really Martina and myself for most of it. And in terms of the time frame that it took, we did a load of consultation through it. So we called people and we said, listen, we're the BAI, we want to write a media literacy policy. We'd be interested to get your views on it. And we set up meetings and conversations. This was before COVID-19 and you were allowed to have face-to-face meetings with people. So we went, we met a number of people across Ireland and asked for their views on it. And we tried to reflect all of those in the document. And then eventually the authority, which is the board of the BAI, looked at it, made some final comments, and then it was ready to be published. All in all, I think it took just over a year, maybe 14, 15 months, something like that. Okay, I think it can be done quick, but we didn't have a lot of resources. So I think if you had more people, it could go quicker.
Okay. Can you tell me why it was created?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it's not an easy one to answer. First of all, the BAI, as I said, has a statutory remit in media literacy. So the legislature actually put in law that the BAI has to, seek to promote exchanges in media literacy or something like that. It's a bit vague. And after talking to people, we realized that there was nobody really in Ireland that was doing anything coordinated in that space. A lot of people were doing their individual things and individual initiatives, and some of them were excellent and really, really good, but they weren't coordinated in any way. And we thought if the BAI has a remit at all in this field, that's probably the role it has. It's a coordination role. We can't decide what literacy media literacy is, or we can't do all that work, but we can maybe facilitate people to do that work and give them tools that help them do that work. And I think that's how the policy came along. And what we found, I know that's one of your questions as well, we found that actually people were, oh my God, this is brilliant, thank you, because they felt there was no leadership in the area. Everybody was doing their own thing, but really they craved some kind of connection and some kind of collaboration. And the BAI stepping in that role, they said to us, was very helpful. So it was trying to bring, you know, people who write curriculum for school with journalists, with other public service agencies, with researchers, with broadcasters, and trying to bring all of those parties together and getting them to agree what would be a suitable framework for media literacy in Ireland. We're not necessarily saying that our model applies everywhere else, but we thought it applied quite well to Ireland.
Thank you for your fantastic answer. Can you tell me how much is the media literacy schools and the other cases?
Yeah, it's listen, it's an area of growth, right? So it's not bad, but it could definitely be better. So there's a good focus in schools, starting from quite a young age, with a number of resources that are available to all schools, in terms of understanding advertising, for example, that you see, and the difference between what's advertising and what's real. When children get older and get in secondary school, there's also a focus on learning how to code computers, so understanding how algorithms work and how you might frame a particular message. There's been a lot of focus from broadcasters in developing programs that help understand the journalistic process in Ireland. So, you know, how do you editorialize the news, for example? How do you decide what item goes on the news? And there's a lot of people that say, oh, sure, they never talk about something that interests me, or they always talk about this, and then they only, but actually the process of editorializing the news is a lot less mysterious than people seem to think. It's quite a straightforward thing. So trying to educate people that way as well. So there's a lot of work that is being done in various ways. We've had initiatives that include reaching out to secondary school children, so say age 15 or so, and asking them to come into radio stations and take over for a week and write the news and the various programs and help them understand how to make a radio program. We've had similar things with television. So there's a good amount of initiative, but it needs to be further developed, obviously. You know, this is something that is going to be with us forever now. And I think COVID-19 has made that even more critical in terms of being able to have a meeting with you today. You know, you have to have the technology, I have to have the technology, I need to know how to use it. This is all media literacy. So building those skills is one of the things that the policy aims to achieve. I'm not saying we're doing it right, but that's certainly what we're trying to focus on.
Thank you. Can you tell me what is the main goal of the BAI media literacy policy?
It's really to for stakeholders to meet. So if the media literacy was a place, it would be a meeting point. And it is about getting people from different sectors that don't normally interact with each other to come together and try to design initiatives or events that benefit all of them. So an example I could give you that we've had quite recently, actually, with COVID-19, was a program that a community organization looking after the welfare of older people in Ireland. They were worried about the amount of misinformation that was circulating about the virus. So they were trying to put together a campaign for older people who may not have as much technology as younger people, and trying to get them to understand how things would work. And they came to us, they came through the network, because I haven't talked about the network yet. Let me backtrack a little bit. One of the key thing of the media literacy policy, a key achievement, has been the setting up of a media literacy network, which we've called Media Literacy Ireland, and which gathers all of those stakeholders that I mentioned to you earlier. So just to go back to my example now, through very recently, we had one community organization representing older people, one civil society organization dealing with online and young people, and one civil society organization dealing with people who have low levels of literacy, find it hard to read and write. And we had all three of them come together to put something together to fight misinformation relating to the virus for older people. So that's one of the things that we can do through the policy.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it has sense. Can you tell me, how did the media workers and the citizens reacted to the AI media literacy policy?
Surprisingly well. We were quite surprised the whole time that we were working on the development of the policy and engaging with the various stakeholders, how enthusiastic people were. Because we kept on thinking, oh my God, we're going to walk in a meeting and they're going to tell us, what do you think you're doing? This is stupid. It's never going to work. But this never, ever happened. They were all, this is brilliant. You need to do this. Somebody needs to take the lead on it. And the BAI is well placed to do that. So the engagement from the various stakeholders was very strong. Last year in March 2019, through the network, through Media Literacy Ireland, we set up a national campaign called Be Media Smart, which aligned with Media Literacy Week in Europe. And we developed an ad that played on television and radio and in print, in libraries, everywhere, because all the stakeholders said, yeah, we want to be part of this. And the ad was extremely well received, and you can access it. You can look at it if you go to bemediasmart.ie. I can send you those details if you're interested.
Yes, definitely.
And the campaign was extremely well received. So that also, and that's the engagement directly with the public that we're talking about. You know, this is an ad that they see on television. There was a lot of following on Twitter, on Facebook. You know, there was a lot of interaction with the campaign. The website that we had set up received a lot of hits. So there was a good engagement with that. So far, I'll touch lots of wood, but so far the results have been positive and the stakeholders are very engaged.
Okay. Did BAI media literacy policy made a big difference, or did she in general in Ireland?
It's a hard question, that, isn't it? I don't know. I'd like to think it changed the world for the better, but that could be a little bit optimistic on my part. I think it did. It started a conversation in Ireland between people that don't necessarily talk to each other. So journalists don't talk to teachers in primary schools, and community radio people don't talk to online platforms. And online platforms don't really talk to anybody. They just do their own thing. So through the network, they have to. And I think that that's an important thing. I think that there's a huge amount of value in that. I think it shows quite a lot of, it starts a conversation about how those things are important and how everybody has a role to play. That it's not just, you know, the government or the regulator or the teachers that have something to do about it, that all of us working together can have a positive impact. So I think that that's, for the moment, that is the main outcomes and the most positive outcome of our work. But I think it's still early days, you know.
Are you planning to do an update of this media literacy policy, or is it going to be in this first version still?
Okay, so that's another interesting question. We've looked at it quite recently, actually. Last year, to see, is there anything in the policy that is not relevant or that we have forgotten or things that need to be added? And really and truly, there wasn't. When we looked at it again, it was quite comprehensive. Now, it's not because we're so clever that we covered everything, even though that would be a nice thing to think, but it's mostly because we've really focused on what media literacy does and not what it is. So because we focused on what media literacy does, it's quite a broad platform. It can do a lot of things. Whereas if you focus just on what it is, it kind of narrows it down, and you might need to add things as you go. So if you look at it, it's really a tool for testing what media literacy does. And we don't think at the moment that we need to revise it. That's not to say that we will never revise it. I'm sure we will, but not for the moment.
Okay. And my last question, that is not really a question, would be: do you have some reports or something I could use in my PowerPoint presentation for this? Maybe reports of some accomplishments or something.
I'm sorry, the line wasn't great. Could you ask the question again, Emma?
Yes,
My apologies.
I can. Do you maybe have some reports of accomplishments of the policy?
Yes, well, I think we can definitely, we definitely have some things. I could give you an outline of what we put in our annual report last year, and I can definitely have a look at that, and that will focus on the policy. But I think the main thing to probably look at is two websites, and that's the bmediasmart.ie, which I mentioned to you already, which was the website associated with the campaign. And that's really the work of the network. And in that website, you have tips and techniques about spotting false information, various initiatives. You have a database of projects and a database of research. And all of this is available to the members of Media Literacy Ireland. And the membership is free. They can be a member without any cost. So that's the first thing that we have done. And then the second thing is another website, which is called medialiteracy.ireland.ie. And that's a more network focused piece of work that tells you who the network are, what they do, the achievements so far, etc., etc. So I think they're the two outputs, if you like, that we have that can showcase the implementation of the media literacy policy.
Okay, I will definitely look up those two sites. And I don't have more questions. I just want to tell you that it was really nice talking to you, and I really appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge with me and other young people that are going to hear this and see this.
Listen, thank you very much. I hope I made sense, and I wish you best of luck with the project.
Thank you very much. I will send you this video and PowerPoint presentation when I will be done. And thank you very much once again.
My pleasure, Emma. Take care.